I'm Charlie from Dr. Wen, and welcome to another daily Doctor Who YouTube video. Today, as you can see from the slide, I will be ranking all 7 new Who Doctors. So that's all 7 Doctors from the new era of Doctor Who since 2005. They are the RUTH Doctor, played by Jo Martin, the War Doctor, played by John Hurt, the 9th Doctor, played by Christopher Eccleston, the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant, the 11th Doctor, played by Matt Smith, the 12th Doctor, played by Peter Capaldi, and the 13th Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker. Just before I start this video, I'd like to say there are no bad Doctors in my opinion. They are all really good at playing a Doctor and were written very well. Also, I was going to be doing a Q&A video a few days ago, but I postponed it because I didn't have many questions. Please, if you have any questions about my opinions on Doctor Who, please put them in the comments. I would really appreciate that. Anyway, let's get into this video. With 7th place, the RUTH Doctor, Jo Martin. The RUTH Doctor, also known as the Fugitive Doctor, first appeared in the Series 12 episode Fugitive of the Judoon, so she's a very recent Doctor. The main reason why she's in last place is because there's not really much to work on. She has quite a lot of screen time in one episode, and that's around it. I think we're going to see more of her in Series 13 and find out where she is in the Doctor's timeline, which would be very good. So if she is in Series 13, then that will probably propel her in this list above some of the regular Doctors. I believe she's the 14th Doctor, mainly because if she was before the 1st Doctor, then why is her TARDIS stuck like that? Because the TARDIS got stuck like a police box during the 1st Doctor's era. So that's why I think she's a 14th, or maybe 15th or 16th Doctors. Overall, she's a really good Doctor though, and I would really like it if she was the 14th Doctor. My favourite episode of hers is, by default, Fugitive of the Judoon, because this is the only episode she's really in. She does make a brief appearance in The Timeless Children, but I'm not really counting that as an episode she is in. But it's still a very good episode actually, even though technically it's my least favourite of her episodes as well. Moving on, we have the 6th Doctor. The 6th Doctor. 6th place is the War Doctor, played by John Hurt. He was another victim of not really having much actual screen time. He was a major part of the Time War and Day of the Doctor, and that is my favourite episode of his, and he also appeared at the very end of Name of the Doctor. But I think it's quite a weird concept, the Doctor who refused to even be handed a weapon before being like this battle-hardened warrior, but I thought it's a really interesting concept, and actually quite liked it. And he's also a really likeable character. He reminds me a bit of the 1st and 12th Doctors, how he's like a space granddad kind of thing. And I really wish we saw more of him, but sadly John Hurt passed away a few years ago, so he can't even do Big Finish anymore, which is really sad because I would have loved to have seen more War Doctor. Moving on, we have 5th place, the 9th Doctor, played by Christopher Eccleston. The 9th Doctor only had one series, and that was the very first series of New Who. It's the very first series I saw, and I immediately really liked the 9th Doctor. I do think he deserved more series, maybe 2 or even 3 more series. And I think he had a really interesting kind of 2 personalities. He had the really fun and likeable side, but he also had a darker side, because he was still sort of really guilty about using the moment in the Time War, even though he actually saved it but forgot about it. I think he had a really great character arc, how he was like really war damaged, but then he met Rose and he was sort of fine by the end of it. And I was actually really surprised when he started to regenerate, because I heard most of the Doctors had around 3 series. I think this is one of the strongest series in New Who, which is Series 1. My favourite episode of his is Bad Wolf, The Parting of the Ways, his final episode, where he regenerates into the 10th Doctor, and the finale of Series 1. And he paved the way for the 10th Doctor quite nicely. I think the show would be very different if the 10th Doctor just started. In 4th place we have the 11th Doctor, played by Matt Smith. Most people think of either the 10th Doctor or the 11th Doctor as the best Doctors. I I very slightly disagree. I say they're definitely up there, and like I said before, I really like all the Doctors, but I think the 11th Doctor is a little bit overrated, mainly because he did more of a take on the Doctor who acts like a child, but also an old man in a young man's body, which was really interesting, but sometimes I think he couldn't really decide which one he wanted to play. But I think either of them was a really good idea, and I still admire his enthusiasm and optimism, and I do like how he played someone with sort of two personalities. He had the regular side, where he was just sort of happy and optimistic, but then he had a darker side as well, which we saw mainly in Time of the Doctor and the Rings of Akaten in Series 7. Series 7 is notable for changing the Doctor's personality quite a lot, whereas in Series 5 he's just really happy and optimistic. My favourite episode of his, just like the War Doctor, is Day of the Doctor, which I've given a 9.7. It's in my top 5, and it's 3rd place in total, I think. In 3rd place we have the 13th Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker. The 13th Doctor was a lot like the 11th Doctor. I think she took inspiration from Matt Smith's Doctor to play this really enthusiastic, traveller, adventurer kind of Doctor. She's only had 2 series so far, but it's confirmed she is coming back for Series 13, which will follow with what's known as the Troughton rule, so all Doctors have 3 series. And I don't really deserve the hate she gets. I think most people who don't like her are just not liking her because she's a woman playing Doctor, which I think is really sexist and not really necessary, because the 13th Doctor is actually a really good Doctor and an extremely likeable person. Well, Time Lord. I think in Series 13 she does need a sort of character arc. We haven't really... I think it would be good to see her opinions, her kind of reaction to the fact that she's the Timeless Child. And I think that Series 13 should be her dealing with the fact that she isn't actually Time Lord. So yes, I think the 13th Doctor is really good, and my favourite episode of hers is Ascension of the Cybermen and the Timeless Children, which some people really don't like because of the big reveal at the end, but I actually quite like the idea, and I think it's really good. In 2nd place we have the 10th Doctor, which is played by David Tennant. I presume that now you figured out who my top spot is, but let me just explain why the 10th Doctor is definitely one of my favourites. He was the most memorable Doctor in my opinion, even more memorable than my top spot, and I think he deserved another series as well. I think every Doctor deserved another series. For example, the 9th Doctor deserved another one after Series 1, the 10th Doctor deserved Series 5, the 11th Doctor deserved Series 8, and the 12th Doctor deserved Series 11. I think he tried a more human take on the Doctor, more of an emotional Doctor, and it made it even more sad when he regenerated, saying that final line, "I don't want to go," and when he lost companions, it was just really sad to see what his reactions would be, because he was probably the most human Doctor this show has ever had. And he's a really memorable Doctor. When someone says Doctor Who to me, I picture the 10th Doctor, and for Classic Who, probably the 4th Doctor, even though they're not my favourites. They are still really high up, but the 10th Doctor is a really good Doctor, and I really wish we could see him again in maybe the 60th anniversary special. I think it is confirmed that David Tennant is coming back, so hopefully he'll have a major part in it. My favourite 10th Doctor episode is Blink, which I've given a 9.7, but also I've given Day of the Doctor a 9.7 as well. In 1st place is the 12th Doctor, played by Peter Capaldi. You probably saw this coming because I really, really like the 12th Doctor. I think Peter Capaldi does a brilliant performance playing the 12th Doctor, and he has like the best parts of all Doctors. I saw a comment on another YouTube video where it was the 12th Doctor regenerating, and someone had said he has the best parts from all Doctors. He was grumpy yet caring like one, He was witty and musical like 2. He dressed and acted like 3. He was playful and alien like 4. He was fearless and energetic like 5. He was as colourful as 6. He was confident and strategic like 7. He was over the top and mad like 8. He was dark and brilliant like 9. He was passionate and commanding like 10. And he was silly like 11. Which I really agree with. He took the best parts from all Doctors and mashed them into a brilliant Doctor. Probably on the more human side, especially in the last series, not so much in series 8 and 9 though, but it did take me a while to appreciate the 12th Doctor as much as I do, and now on a rewatch I like him even more. He also had a really powerful regeneration speech at the end, and I was really sad to see him go. That's it for today's video, guys. Oh, and also my favourite episode of his is Twice Upon a Time, which is my favourite episode ever, and I've given it a 9.9. That's it for today's video, guys. Next time I will be ranking all 4 Spearhead from Space episodes. I did do a video about Spearhead from Space where I review it yesterday. I'd go and check that out if I were you. But tomorrow then I will do a video where I rank all 4 Spearhead from Space episodes. I'll see you then, and goodbye. Don't forget to subscribe.